Greetings, citizens! My name is FailureToReport, and today we're going to finish up our conversation on ship customization, which is coming probably today or this weekend to the PTU. On Thursday, Cloud Imperium gave a more in-depth look at ship customization, as well as publishing the Q&A, which, thank God, wasn't loaded with redundant garbage questions. Now, since I messed up and assumed everybody knew how this system was supposed to work, since it was covered vaguely at CitizenCon 2018, I also regret that I didn't talk more in depth about it. So for today's video, let's talk about the new information as well as why this system isn't all bad. I said all bad. There are some parts of it that are kind of pretty crappy, but anyways. Onward, chums! In May 30th, Inside Star Citizen, Jared Lando talks with John Crew about the ship customization, and while most of this information was a rehash of things we were already aware of, they did talk about the difference between this customization tool, which is a manufacturer's loadout, versus a future aftermarket loadout. The comparison being that when you buy a car from a dealership, you're selecting some of the basic options a vehicle might have, but if you want all that crazy aftermarket stuff, you need to buy that somewhere else and not the origin dealership. Additionally, one of the nice things they've solidified with this video is that these purchases change your base package, which I think some people are not aware of from the comments I saw in the last video where I talked about the system. I saw a lot of people comparing it to the Aurora ship skins. To be clear, this system completely changes your base ship pledge, where the Aurora skins are an equipped item. That means with this new system, when the server crashes, someone rams your ship, or you fall asleep flying to an outpost and burn your pretty 300 into the surface of Delamar, your insurance claim will include all of these changes that you paid for. This is a very important difference when comparing this system to ship skins. If you are out of the loop on this difference, that's okay. Sorting through the amount of content and info dumping CIG does is daunting. I got your back, citizen, and I apologize for not going more in depth in the last video like I should have. I was tired from getting back from the Caribbean and probably still hungover. Another great info dump yesterday was the ship customization Q&A. In this post, they gave even further details on how the system was going to work, including some basic information on cost, and one of my biggest concerns, whether this system would be available in-game or strictly monetized like Elite Dangerous. Cliff note spoilers, it will be available in-game eventually. But like I said in the last video covering this topic, I had a feeling they were going to monetize it in the short term, and that seems to be the indication as I haven't heard anything out of FailureToReport about it being usable with in-game credits yet. I'll make sure to include the Q&A page in the video's description, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a too long don't read recap. First and foremost, CIG intends for most everything to be earnable in-game still. Items purchased from the customizer will be replaced when your ship is lost and the insurance claimed. Eventually, they intend to add more options down the line. They do not yet have an ETA on when this system will be rolled out for other ships outside of the 300i, but obviously it's coming. Ship modularity is still planned, and they see this new tool as a stepping stone towards that. And one of my biggest questions for those who already own a 300i, you will not need to melt and rebuy to make use of this system. Upon logging in, you will be given the ability to use the customizer to tweak your existing 300 series to your liking. Now, as I said earlier, this Q&A was actually one of the better ones as it wasn't loaded with questions a window licker would have asked, and they didn't bloat it with a bunch of redundant questions to avoid answering the tougher ones that were being asked. So, well done on that, CIG. However, to many people's frustrations, CIG did not cover the pricing. But, thanks to the FailureToReport leaking community, we get some of that too. So, in the current system, which is expected to go to PTU shortly, there are multiple free color skins, as well as a collection of $1 standards and $2 premium paint jobs. Interior options range from a couple dollars to around $5. None of these things are really a big issue, so let's talk about the part that really sucks a fat one. Like I said earlier in this video, a lot of people seem to think that it only covered the visual customizations to the color and interior of a ship, but it also offers permanent ship component replacements. And that's a big deal since these are permanent changes to your base ship. Remember when all those fanboys on Spectrum would yell, "Lifetime insurance doesn't matter, you're gonna replace those stock parts anyways"? Welp, guess what, Space Jock? Now you can indeed replace those stock parts, with upgraded ones that will be lifetime insured as well. Go ahead and carve another notch in the Paying for Power post. So, with this new system, we see CIG offering specific item bundles for each ship, which allows players to upgrade their ship in certain directions. These bundles are not customizable, but include things like better shields, better coolers, a better quantum drive, better weapons, although with CIG's constant weapon balancing, that's kind of subjective. The issue, though, is outside of the weapons, these component upgrades are statistically making your ship better than the ship as a base pledge, and permanently become the stock parts unless you decide to change them again in the future. So again, this isn't that big of a deal when this system is enabled for in-game UEC purchase, but that could take weeks or years, and without knowing the answer to that question, it is very concerning. One of the other major issues I have with this system is that they are pre-selected parts, which means CIG is totally capable of taking the approach many other freemium competitive games have taken, where they buff their latest offering to attract extra sales from people who feel they need to be on par with everyone else. Ironically, the most expensive weapon packages are laser repeaters and Gatling guns for the 300s. Hey, really quick, which weapons are meta in 3.5? Repeaters and Gatlings? Huh. How about that? Now, to be fair, that's a little tinfoil hat-ish, but as a PlanetSide 2 vet, I've definitely seen this behavior done intentionally from a developer. So it isn't like it's an impossibility for CIG to influence weapon balance as other ships get this system with new weapon options to cash in or, get that extra 30 or more for weapons. And remember, the 300 series biggest weapon size is a size 4. So those component bundles could end up costing a pretty penny when you start touching on ships with size 6 or larger components. As I said in the last video, I'm not opposed to CIG monetizing customizations, and I was really hopeful that they would at least take an approach similar to Warframe, where yes, you have the option to buy cosmetics, but you can also earn them in-game. And while it doesn't seem this will be live when 3.5.1 lands, CIG made it pretty clear that their intention is to have it be that way eventually. I know a lot of backers aren't happy with the idea of not being able to use this system for free right away, and I can absolutely sympathize with that. But given the company and game we're talking about, I think it's important to realize that this whole thing could have been much, much, much worse than what we got. So overall, I'm fairly satisfied with Cloud Imperium's implementation on this system. I have some concerns about the component sales, but if they get this system implemented to in-game purchases in a timely manner instead of years like ship sales, it wouldn't be a total disaster to me. Now, as always, citizens, my name is FailureToReport. I hope I helped clear up some of the confusion around this system a little better this time around, and if you have further questions about how this is going to work, I'll do my best to answer them with the information that we have. If not, I'll see you next time, and if 3.5.1 goes live this weekend, I might even see you in the verse.